how was your day? Is it good? Alright. Today we are going to tackle about evolving trends in criticism. So evolving trends in criticism reflect changes in how we analyze literature and art. Earlier methods like formalism, like structuralism, and postmodernism look at broader cultural, social, and linguistic influences. Today, criticism includes the diverse such as feminism, identity, race, and even technology, showing a more and interdisciplinary approach to understanding art and culture. So, new criticism started on 1940 to 1960. It appeared as a reaction toward biographical and traditional historical criticism, which was focused on extra text materials such as biography of the author. So, new criticism, it means that it focused on analyzing the text itself, ignoring the author's biography or historical context. It emphasized close reading to examine the structure, language, and literary devices, treating the text as a self-contained work of art. It also aimed for objective analysis rather, which highlighting how all parts of the text work together to create meaning. So, new criticism as a literary theory and as a way to reading text. So, new criticism as a literary theory. First, we have a new criticism views a work as a standalone piece. So, it means that something that can be understood and appreciated on its own without needing extra information like the author's life story or the historical background. It's completely by itself only. While as a way to reading text, it emphasizes close reading by focusing on how literary elements like imagery, tone, and symbolism create a unified meaning within the text. It avoids external influences, centering entirely to the text itself. And how new criticism see a text. So a text should be seen as a complete work of art. A text gives its example to validate our interpretation, and it also the text should be seen or have a source to analyze and get a true meaning. So, intentional fallacy term used in 20th century literary criticism to describe the problem inherent in trying to judge a work of art by assuming the inherent or purpose of the artist who created it. So, in intentional fallacy, this term argues that judging a work of art based on what the artist intended is a mistake. The focus should be on the work itself, not the artist's purpose. So basically, it simply means that by judging a work of art should be based on the work itself, not the artist's intent or purpose. So, in effective fallacy, according to the followers of new criticism, the misconception that arises from judging a poem by the emotional effect that it produces in the reader. The concept of affective fallacy is a direct attack on impressionistic criticism, which argues that the reader's response to a poem is the ultimate indication of its value. So, in affective fallacy, of course, this idea criticizes judging a work based on emotions it creates. in readers. So it claims such responses are subjective and don't determine the true value of the work. So this concept or both concepts stress focusing on the text, not externally factors like intent or readers' feelings. So close reading. The only way we can know if given author's intention or a given reader's interpretation which actually represent the true meaning is by carefully examine. So close reading is a method of carefully examining a text, focusing on its language, details, and structure to understand its meaning. So new criticism, it says that this approach is the best way to uncover deeper, often complex meanings in a text, which may have multiple layers or contradiction. So it emphasizes analyzing the text itself, not the author's intent or the reader's emotion. Okay, so for new criticism, in C, the complexity of a text is created by the multiple and often conflicting meaning on it. So this meaning are a product primarily of four kinds of linguistic devices, which is ambiguity, paradox, irony, and tension. So first, let's talk about ambiguity. So ambiguity, it occurs when a word, image, or event generates two or more different meanings. So ambiguity means when a word, image, or event in a text has multiple possible meanings, leaving it unclear or open to different interpretations. So let's say for the example that has shown below. So example, according to Jonah Baldwin in the film Sleepless in Seattle 1993, he said that, "Thanks for dinner. I've never seen potatoes cook like that before." So that is ambiguity. So the next one, we proceed to paradox. So a paradox, it typically arises from false assumptions which then lead to inconsistencies between observed and expected behavior. So a paradox means that it is a situation where something seems to contradict itself, but upon closer examination, it may reveal a deeper truth, or it often arises from false assumption or false expectations that can lead to unexpected or inconsistent outcomes. So let's say, for example, according to C.S. Lewis, to his godchild, Lucy Barfield, to whom he dedicated The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So he said that someday you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. So that is the meaning of, or the example of, a paradox. So now let's proceed to irony. So irony, a figure of speech in which words are used in such a way that their intended meaning is different from the actual meaning of the words. So irony, it means that is when words are used to express the opposite of their literal meaning, often to highlighting a contrast between what is said and what is actually meant or expected. So it means that irony is the opposite of the literal meaning itself. So example, once in the winter, the rector would come to dine, and her husband who would beg her to go over the list and see that no divorcees were included, except those who had showed signs of penitence by being remarried. So let's take a look at the picture here. So a signboard here, or a text that is written there at the signboard is, "Thank you for driving carefully through the village." So someone genuinely believed that distracting drivers with this pointless sign would create safer roads. So it means that someone truly thought putting up a useless sign to distract drivers would somehow make the roads safer. So the next one, we proceed to the tension. So attention is a state of mental or emotional strain or suspense, or when there is suspense in the story. So it means that tension is a feeling of stress, anxiety, or excitement that often created by uncertainty or conflict. Tension in a story, it is the suspense or build up that can keep the readers eager to find out what happens next. So how can new criticism help us understand the text? New criticism is a powerful tool for those of us that have problems understanding a work of literature. So it means that new criticism allows us to understand a text by examining it closely, focusing on its words, symbols, themes, and how these elements fit together. So new criticism encourages a more objective and focused interpretations based purely on what is directly in front of us. So new criticism, or INSEE, formulated a method of reading, a simple formula that will help us unlock the meaning of a text. So new criticism formulated a method of reading and how we are going, or that will help us unlock the meaning of a text. So how do we discover or unlock that meaning? We can discover or unlock that meaning by following a simple formula that is stated there below. So, first, who is speaking in the text? Not the author, not the poet, whoever, whatever created the text, but it is created by the text itself. Or who is being spoken to? Or who is the addressee? Or who is the implied reader of the text? Or where is the setting? Or when it is? And lastly, what is the central metaphors of the text? So now, the importance of metaphor in a literary text. New critics pointed out is that a text is not only about what it seems to be talking about, but it is always something else. There is always something other than the literary meaning or the literal meaning of the text. So metaphors is what makes literary language different from the ordinary language. So that is a metaphor differs to the ordinary language. So image, symbols, metaphors, rhyme, meter, point of view, setting, characterization, and plot. Those are called formal elements of text. Four of Clifton's poem illustrates new criticism asks us to look closely at the formal elements of the text to help us discover the poem's theme and to explain the ways in which those formal elements establish it. New critics believe they allowed the literary work itself to provide the text the context within which we interpret and evaluate it. So basically it means that Um, New criticism believe that the meaning of a literary works comes the text itself, not from the author's life or historical context. They thought the text provided everything needed to understand and evaluate it. Other meanings of the word found in Webster's New Universal and Abridged Dictionary include crude or vulgar, a quarrelsome woman, and a threatening beggar. Although most words can be found to have more than one dictionary definition, a word's ambiguity is determined not by the dictionary but by the context of the poem as a whole, in terms of which alone the word's meaning or meanings must be judged. The summary: sometimes new critics did believe that the text warranted a discussion of its psychological, social, sociological, or philosophical elements because those elements were obviously integral to the work's characterization or plot. New critics also called their approach objective criticism because their focus on each text's own formal element ensured they claimed that each object being interpreted would itself dictate how it would be interpreted. So, the end. That's all for um, evolving trends in criticism.
Hi everyone, my name is Riza Villares and my assigned topic is all about role of criticism in a globalized world. Criticism plays a vital role in holding people and institutions accountable, fostering dialogue and driving progress. It helps address global issues, improve practice and challenges inequities, promoting a more just and interconnected world. So there are 5 roles of criticism placed in globalized world. First, accountability. Accountability criticism holds global institutions, corporations, and government responsible for their actions, such as environmental policy. Next one, cultural preservation. It helps protect culture identities from being overshadowed by dominant global influence. Third one, advocacy for equality. Criticism highlights global inequalities such as wealth gaps or human rights violations. Number 4, encouraging innovations. It pushed industry and creators to meet global standard and improve product or ideas. Number 5, fostering dialogue. Criticism promotes international discussions and understanding between diverse culture. So global criticism of fast fashion has raised awareness about ethical labor practice and environmental harm, promoting some companies to adopt sustainable practice.